Good afternoon, fellow ruminators. Welcome back to another session, Rumination with Andrew. Thank you so much for joining as we are about to discuss a very important topical matter. I hope that you're hearing me because I just plugged in my headset. Now, this morning or this afternoon, when the video shall have reached you or will reach you, I am going to speak on the topic of the fact that Rattigan needs now to stop attacking the JLP and attack Jamaica's bigger problems. And that is the political system. So stop attacking the JLP, Rattigan. Jamaica's bigger problem is the political system itself, right? And that is not, we're not suggesting here that Wilfred Rattigan's criticism of the JLP misses the bigger picture. Jamaica's entire political system is broken, right? That is what we are suggesting, that Wilfred's Rattigan's criticism of the JLP misses the bigger picture. Jamaica's entire political system is broken, and both major parties, JLP and PNP, share the blame. You'll challenge Rattigan to pivot from, and that's what I'm trying to do, to pivot from partisan critique to national analysis. I'm trying to allow him to understand that we need as a people to pivot from partisan critique to national analysis, looking at both political parties and seeing that both of them have really failed Jamaica. Not only the JLP, but the PNP as well. Excuse me. If you were listening to the debates prior to the election, when we had the debate between the Prime Minister, well, the now Prime Minister was then Prime Minister, also Dr. Andrew Michael Holness and Mark Oding. Now, if you noticed that when the JLP's leader, that's Andrew Holness, alleged that Mark Oding received money, loads of money from FinCEN, from Carlos Hill's Cash Plus, and the other guys, Joseph Smith's audit. Notice that Mark Oding did not refute the allegations. He did not debunk what the Prime Minister had said. And I was wondering, shouldn't Mark Oding, should that be a major point that he wanted to have debunked, to have harnessed the belief system, the confidence of the voters in the PNP that Mark Oding was in fact he was squeaky clean from all corruption, as he had not been in politics at the time. Well, he was just beginning. I think he had just started his political career just around the time of Cash Plus. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, the fact that Mark Oding did not debunk Dr. Andrew Holness's allegations suggest that he is guilty as charged. Because if I'm standing on, a platform and somebody accuses me, especially on that major political platform, of something that I did not do, I would evidently have defended myself. And I would say that is not true. Never participated in or lent or received any such money, and the whole FinSAC debacle. And the fact that he's mentioned that, Mark Oding does not even have any homes. Was he the one who mentioned it, that Mark Oding does not even have any homes in Jamaica? All right. Now, that is something alarming if those allegations are true. I'm not suggesting that they're true. What I'm suggesting here is, if those allegations are true, then the PNP are, equally corrupt and are equal criminals as the JLP. So when you see Rattigan, now the government is in power. The JLP has won the election. We know that Both parties are corrupt and they do their shenanigans to get them to win, especially when they're in power and they have access to the enormous amount of state funds. Okay? So what is Rattigan's purpose now? He's still harping on the fact that the JLP have Jamaicans elected another time a criminal. That's the title of his latest video. I haven't watched it. I don't follow Rattigan in terms of what he's saying. But because, he started out well, I must say that when Rattigan came online, he started out well. And I wished him well. I used to share some of his videos. I thought that he was, doing some good research as someone who was in the FBI, didn't really trust his FBI background because we know who the FBI members are. And we know that that institution was the primary institution that alleged that Marcus Garvey was a criminal. And we know that the FBI organization is not what it deems or it purports itself to be. It is not. All right. And Jamaicans are so credulous. They believe anything that was a title that they think seems to be important, then they are going to believe them. So you have thousands of views and thousands of persons following him, not understanding that Rattigan has his own agenda, because at this point, if he is suggesting that only the JLP is corrupt and the PNP is not, then something is not right with his thinking. And his agenda is not an agenda that is for national development. What is his agenda? That is what people should be asking. And Rattigan is free to come on this program to share with me his perspective and why he is knocking the JLP as he's knocking. No, I knock both of them because I know that they operate within a corrupt political system. They operate within a tribalistic political climate. So I knock both of them, and I do so, unabashedly. Okay? Because we have to understand that we have a nation state to build. We have a nation state to build, and this playing of partisan politics is not going to help us to develop. So Wilfred Rattigan has every right to call out corruption and mismanagement, but Jamaica's real issue goes far deeper than the JLP. Our entire political system is broken. Okay? Our entire political system is broken. In this video, and that is why I made this video, I explain why Rattigan should focus his energy on exposing the systemic failures that keep Jamaica trapped in a cycle of poor governance, weak accountability, and partisan division, from the PNP's leadership struggles under Mark Golding to the JLP's blind spots in power and lack of accountability. Jamaica needs truth tellers who address the root problem, not just the party in power. This isn't about defending the JLP or attacking the PNP. It's about demanding a new political culture that finally puts Jamaica first, right? And that is what we want. We don't want these people to come and pretend, not well, they have the right, don't get me wrong, we operate within a freedom of expression environment. We operate within that environment. And I believe that people should be, willing to be partisan, but say that you are. And don't pretend as if you're there because you want to eradicate corruption. Because if that is what Rattigan desires, the PNP is not going to help him to eradicate that. Okay? The PNP is not going to help him to eradicate that. But we see here on Rattigan's biography, he is from the Gibraltar Security Consultants LLC, DBA Tot Security. And he has a rather impressive resume here online, a part of which he was, he functioned as a transnational organized crime acting section chief from 2000 15 to 2015, well, from January 2015 to April 2015, that was a short time. That this was a very short time, Rattigan. And he was saying that he managed the Africa, Asia, Middle East Transnational Operations Unit, Balkans Eurasian Operations Unit, International Organized Crime. So I was looking at the resume, but I didn't realize that the time that he spent on doing some of the jobs that he was tasked to do were rather very short, brief moments of his life. Well, he has here too that the FBI New York office, counterterrorism division, acting assistant special agent in charge. And this was from in 2006, June of 2006 to June of 2007. Not a very long time. Not a very long time. Not a very long time. He has also here that this, I think, was the longest thing I've seen him with the criminality and the um, drugs. So we have FBI Investigative Division, Jamaican Dominican Republic, or Jamaican Dominican drug gangs. I'm not sure if it's Dominican Republic or Jamaican or Dominica. So he has here FBI Criminal Investigative Division, Jamaican Dominican Drug Gangs Unit Special Agent, and he was in that position from June to 1992 to February rather, from June 1992 to February 1999. Okay, so and here now he's a lawyer of the Rattigan and Associates LLC. He has a comprehensive law practice and law enforcement consultancy with global strategic partners, offering legal representation in real estate, immigration, entertainment, contracts, criminal, landlord or slash tenant matrimonial, child support, custody issues. Wow, he runs a whole gamut of things here in this office, provides law enforcement consultancy spanning a wide range of issues, including training, intelligence gathering, source development, and strategic planning. So Rattigan has some experience. I'm not saying that he has a great amount of experience as he purports to do. Okay, because looking at his resume, the positions that he occupied in gang and terrorism, it's quite a brief time that he spent in that office. He wouldn't have accumulated any great amount of experience as he is suggesting on his programs. But for all intents and purposes, I think that if he tries to be objective, he could be an asset to the Jamaican government. If Rattigan comes off this bandwagon of being a party, being a part of one of the political tribes, he could be, and I'm not suggesting that he could not choose a political party, one of the dominant parties with JLP or the PNP, and he seems to be more comfortable with the PNP. But let's be fair in our criticisms. And if the PNP had won, then you support the PNP. If the PNP had won the election, then the PNP should be supported. Okay? But in this context, the JLP has won. So what Rattigan should do now is to hold both parties accountable, ensure that the opposition is holding the government, the incumbent government's feet to the fire, ensuring that they do what they're supposed to do. And we don't want to hear now that every day you're spending that Andrew was a criminal, Andrew was a criminal. The entire political system is criminal, right? We have a few good ones in the system, but for the most part, the system is corrupt. That's how it has been designed from day one. And Rattigan should be more intelligent to understand that. But he chooses selectively and intentionally to be on the side of the PNP and to dispense their propaganda. Why Rattigan? Why? Are you seeking a position to be a commissioner of police under the PNP? And because the JLP lost, you're still hoping that, delusionally so, that somehow you can unseat the JLP whilst in office? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So if I were you, yes, I would continue to hold Andrew Holness and his team feet to the fire, but you should also hold the PNP to account, which I don't see you doing. I don't listen to most of your programs, but just by the titles of your videos, I will be turned off. Okay, it's time for us. And all thinking people would be turned off, not just me at all. Now, there was an article written in the Jamaica Observer this morning about the need for Mark Golding, to retire, right? That's what the article indicated and intimated. Now, we have real problems, and that's the title of the article in the Observer PNP Challenge of Finding Solutions, Accepting Defeat. So that is the title of it. I would encourage Wilfred Rattigan, to read that article that appeared in the Jamaica Observer this morning, because it was quite an interesting article that he wrote. He says, in which the author is saying here, I am no clairvoyant, but I do take a keen interest in the political happenings of my country. I believe those in the PNP who are still suffering from shock due to the outcome of September 3, 2025, will soon have to wake from their slumber. A leadership challenge in the PNP is coming in 2026, 2027, I believe. As I see it, by that time, those who have said they wish to lead the PNP or those who hanker quietly after the top job in Norman Manley's party will realize that their political fortune and ambitions are being choked to death by a president who will be 65 when the next general election is due. Holness will be 58, so he's still young. Politics today is a younger man's game. Look around the world today, but for a few exceptions, younger and younger national leaders are being voted into office. There is the matter of money too. Those who invest in a political party do so primarily because they see a realistic chance that the party they invest in will take home the bacon. The PNP is suffering from an acute shortage of pork, according to several sources. As I see it, Golding is a lame duck president. He does not have much in the way of political patronage to distribute. Here is the reality of political gravity. Leaders who do not have much in the way of patronage to distribute cannot rely on the loyalty of those around them. The days of loyalty to ideology and, as a consequence, the party leader and party are dead. The giving out of opposition spokesperson titles and a few board assignments is pretty much all the patronage at Golding's disposal. I believe Golding should have done the smart thing and resigned like his predecessors. Former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller and First Leader of one of our two major parties not to become Prime Minister, Dr. Peter Phillips. Golding, maybe he's trying to stave off the political carnage that ensued when Simpson, Miller, and Phillips stood down, but death by 1,000 cuts could be much worse. And he's predicting that if there is no revolutionary change in the PNP, that the PNP is going to be in the wilderness, in the political wilderness until 2030, or possibly beyond, which is not very good for Jamaica, because we would not have a functional, credible, viable opposition. We don't have one, but at least, they used to pretend. We need some pretension, right? But to have brazenly just a one-party system is something that Jamaicans need to be concerned about, to be gravely concerned about. Okay? So I would admonish Wilfred Rattigan, who has some amount of keen intelligence, some amount of, political acumen, if you will, to desist from unleashing his energies on solely the JLP and begin to look at national development and to look at how the two dominant political parties have contributed to what is called a failed Jamaican state. That is what he needs to do. That is what Rattigan, Wilfred Rattigan, that is what you need to do. But if you have another agenda, I'm sure that you will continue to do that which you are doing, which at the end of the day will not be helpful to building the future of Jamaica. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe, like the videos so the videos can be shared with as many people on the platform. And for those of you who'd like to make your monetary contributions, you can send it to my Cash App, and the address or the code is cash sign MZ Talk 9. The cash sign MZ or Z TUCK 9. See you in another one. Ciao.